Hello designers, today I'm going to show you how to use Pixlr and create your own fashion designs. Now the first thing that I'm doing is opening up our model template, and then I'm going to put it into full screen mode. As you'll notice, I'm creating my own layer, which is just going to be for a background. It makes it a little bit easier when you're designing fashions if the background isn't checkered. It's a little bit cleaner and you get better lines when you create your outline. So the first thing I'm doing is using my bright blue, which is going to be my base of my fashion design. As you'll notice, I have my own inspiration image that I'm using as well. You'll want to go into the layer options and you'll see the opacity, which you'll adjust so that you can see the models through your outline. Now this just makes it easier because as you create an outline, obviously you want to be able to see the body as you're doing it. We're going to start with our Polygonal Lasso tool, and often I use this because it's the quickest and easiest way to create a clean outline, and even if it's not completely perfect, you can go back and straighten it up very easily. You'll notice that my lines aren't super clean as I'm creating my outline, mostly because I'm not super worried because I can know that I can go back through later on and snip some pieces from my outline using the same outline lasso tool. Once you've created a basic shape, you'll go into edit, you're going to invert the selection, you'll see in the panel, and then you're going to click edit and cut. This basically cuts out all of the rest of the background from the fashion. You can raise your opacity, and as you see, I have a basic fashion design. Now you'll notice that I'm going back through with that same Polygonal Lasso tool, and I'm creating kind of wrinkles along the edge of the design, and I'm just cutting them from our fashion. That's a very easy technique if you want to make your design look a little bit cleaner. And the next thing that I'm going to do is use our paint bucket tool and then our Polygonal Lasso tool, and I make it the straps in the same way as I did with the dress outline. Once you have a complete shape, you can then invert your selection and then cut it out. The next thing I'm going to show you is how to shade using a brush. Oftentimes I'll adjust the opacity and use a color that's just slightly darker or lighter than my fashion design. It makes it look slightly more realistic and it's a little bit easier to work with. Now you'll notice I'm just kind of copying the creases that I have from my inspiration image. The next technique that I'm going to show you very quickly is how to use the Polygonal Lasso tool. Now this is a pretty simple technique. If you do not have a drawing tablet, it's a lot simpler to do. It's basically the same as you would do with your outline. You're going to invert your selection and then cut your pieces out. Now the one downside to this is you have to create a different piece for each little section of shading that you do. But that being said, it's still a way quicker alternative to designing your fashion. Now, in order for us to get rid of these excess pieces on the side, what we want to do is select our dress, and then you're going to go up to select pixels for the dress. And then you're going to change over your selection to the layer that has your shading on it. You'll invert the selection. This selects everything outside of that dress, and then you're going to cut the pieces. Now you'll notice that now that piece is perfectly smooth with the dress. We're going to do the same thing again. We select the dress layer, and then we select the pixels. Go back up to our other layer that has our shading on it. And then we're going to go to edit, and we're going to invert our selection again. And then from there, we're going to cut out the piece. And once again, we have now a clean fashion design. Now the next thing that we're going to do is save our project. We're going to hide the background and the model. You'll go up to save, and you'll want to save it as whatever name that you want, say blue dress. And then you'll save it as PNG so it stays transparent, and you'll be able to choose where you want to save it to. Keep designing, everybody!